You are watching Kit Kabinet, and this is the inbox review of the Azur Potez 633 in 1/72 scale. It's basically the same kit as their 630 release or their 631 release. The fighter variants of this is the light bomber version. So these kits are basically the same. There are just a couple of parts that you will see in a minute that differ from kit to kit, and the decals of course. So let's have a look inside. So here we have the fuselage sprue. Let's have a closer look. Well, it's a short run kit. And it shows. The detail isn't very crisp. It's a nice improvement to the old Heller kit. You can't help but compare it to that one, which I will in a minute. Thing is, you can already see some mold damage, like here in the elevator, and apparently they tried to repair something here. There's a small mark here, and this kit is like covered in these little blemishes. It's not too terrible, but yeah, it's not a high-tech kit, as you would call it, if it weren't for the extra photo etched parts and resin parts. Here we have the wings, and you can see, like here, there's an enormous, huge amount of flash here, and that's a bit typical for here as well, typical for these short run kits. So you would hope that these molds will hold out a little longer. Is this kit better than the Heller kit? Well, it's got engraved panel lines, so that's a big plus. You can also tell, like, the tailplane, the horizontal tailplane, is a lot closer to the shape of the actual plane. I mean, look at the difference. Huh. This is the Heller tailplane. It's way too narrow. And also, like, when you compare the fuselages, like the nose, the nice sleek sharky nose is nicely rendered in the Azur kit, and the old Heller kit looks, yeah, not so sharky, more like a whale or something. So yes, there's some improvements, but it's not quite perfect, this kit. For example, the wings show the same inconsistencies. They're very similar shape-wise, and they're actually a bit too short. The real thing apparently had some very long wings, but the Azur kit follows the Heller kit quite closely in this aspect. So I doubt if it's perfect. It's an improvement, but Now, what is a nice improvement is the resin parts. These are very nice in detail, and you get a load of those. And there's also some things there some of the parts are different from the other versions, as I mentioned. For example, for a light bomber you have the bomb bay. This is the bomb bay, and you have to insert that in the cockpit. A very tiny seat. I almost doubt if that one is to scale, but I'll have to check that. Now, here we have the transparencies, and they are vacformed. Okay, let's not get too dramatic about that. But together with the resin parts, it puts this kit a bit out of reach for the beginning modelers. But the vac-formed parts look very good. Nice, almost scale thickness canopies. And of course this version also has some bombing aim windows. And they have included 2 of each. So if you mess one up, you still have one left. So yes, there's a bit more skill required to adding vacform parts than like just cutting off the injection molded canopy of the sprue and just gluing it on. You have to like take a bit more care to cut these out. The decals, yeah, for 3 versions, a French version. The French hardly used the light bomber version. I think there was one sortie which turned into a disaster in the Second World War. So the French themselves didn't use the 633 version very much. But the Greeks did, and the Romanians also did. There's a small sticker for the instrument panel here as well. And speaking of the instrument panel, there are some photo etched parts here with an instrument panel, some Bombay parts, and some aileron detail parts. So yes, you get that as well. The instructions in Czech and in English. So here's the sprue map. Some things are crossed out which you would use like in the 630 or 631 version, like the under fuselage cannon. But luckily those parts are included, so you can still turn this one into a 631 if you want that. Here's the Bombay assembly, the part that I mentioned before. Paint schemes. So, is this a good kit? Well, it comes with the issues of a lot of short run kits. There's some extra skills needed, so it's definitely not for the beginning modeler. In that respect, is it an improvement to the old Heller kit? Well, the Heller kit being a product of its time, here's the old Heller kit. Is like, can you still get the Heller kit like to current standards? Yes, with some effort, but I think this kit would also take a fair amount of effort to turn into a convincing model. I don't think it's a bad kit, but I think it has its challenges to turn it into a convincing model. Thank you for watching, and until the next video.